Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to talk to you guys about characters I wish were in Marvel Future Fight. Now, this topic has been requested by a lot of people for as long as I can remember, since I basically started the channel. There's always chatter when an upcoming patch hints at new characters. People are always discussing who's it going to be. I hope it's this person, I hope it's that person. We've had names thrown out for actually more than a year that haven't appeared in the game yet, so I wanted to take a little bit of time out and I wanted to say who I really wish was in the game. Now, of course, this has no impact on who will be in the game, but it's just for fun, and it's just to see, you know, who all of our favorite characters are and how they could potentially play out in this game, in this universe that Netmarble has created for us to play heroes and villains in. And I just want to say at the beginning, before we get into anything, that obviously, guys, these are just my opinions about who I like the best. If you don't like any of the picks that I have, or you like all of them, that's fantastic either way. Also, I'm not a variant comics type of guy, so I don't have perfect knowledge about all of these characters. So if I misinterpret, or if I misjudge their power level, or if I don't, you know, pick up on all of their powers and strengths and, you know, explain all of them for you now, you know, be understanding of that, and you can let me know in the comments where I've made a misstep or where I've kind of miscalculated something, and I can acknowledge that. But let's jump right into the list, guys, in no particular order. I want to first talk about Sandman. Sandman is part of Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery, and there are a lot of great picks from his Rogues Gallery that could be introduced into the game. Probably Vulture with the upcoming Homecoming movie, but I think I would like to see Sandman the most because, for me, I love the body manipulation characters like Carnage, and I think that Sandman would fit perfectly into that motif. He could already be very well animated, as Netmarble has shown us, with the likes of Carnage, and I would just love to see this giant, angry, sand-like man just morph and change into all these different shapes and sizes and do all this crazy stuff. You know, just jump up into his giant, you know, haze of sand and then just mob a whole bunch of enemies and kill them instantly. It would look so cool. And I think it would be awesome if Netmarble made him also a super villain and also a combat character, and also maybe, hopefully, farmable for Extreme Alliance battle, maybe. That would be cool. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Next up on the list, Adam Warlock. I really enjoyed reading about Adam Warlock in the Infinity series, and I really liked the interplay between him and Mangus and the Soul Gem and stuff like that. I think you know, there could be an entire event wrapped around and built around Adam Warlock, like we had the epic quests for Doctor Strange. Speaking of Doctor Strange, I do think that Adam Warlock would probably animate a lot like Doctor Strange, although Adam Warlock's skills and powers are not so much rooted in arcane mystic magic, but more in like cosmic power. So I think he would have more colors or more effects similar to Thanos, with all of the portals in time and space opening up, the teleportation, you know, the iframes disappearing, reappearing, stuff like that. So I think that he would kind of be a mixture of Doctor Strange and Thanos, and I think he would also have to be a mixture of Strange and Thanos because he has to be on that power level. Adam Warlock is one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe. You know, he defeated Thanos when he had the Infinity Gauntlet with help, but he would just be such a cool character, and his morality is such an important, integral part of that character. And the line that he walks, and the cocoon with the regeneration, I mean, there's hints to that already in the collector's room in the Marvel movies. So I would love it if Netmarble put him in this game. That would be awesome. Next up, we have Silver Surfer. I don't have any character that I could really compare Silver Surfer to, because none have thus far jumped out at me. I mean, as far as his body goes, body shape, he would probably look something like Iron Man just because they both look bald. But Silver Surfer, to me, has just been an awesome character in everything I've seen and read him in. I mean, he does have a pretty confusing or conflicting kind of role at times as far as being tied to Galactus, but I do really like how durable, how strong, and how relentless and resilient Silver Surfer is. And I mean, also, he's a silver looking dude on a surfboard in space. How cosmically awesome is that? And I don't know how they would animate him necessarily, but if they could, it would just look so cool, and the interplay between him and Galactus, if they had them both in the game, would just be awesome. And Silver Surfer leads excellently into my next character, which is Galactus. I think it would be so epic to have this giant hulking purple man, similar to a lot of the bosses that we have for the Chapter 12 Odin missions, like Suter and the Ice Guy. What's his name? I don't want to butcher his name too much. The Midgard Serpent and Ymir, whatever his name is. Anyways, it would be just amazing if we had him as a playable character. It would still be good if we had Galactus in the game as someone we could fight against, but to have him, even in a shrunk down version, playable in this game would just feel so cool. I mean, we already have shrinking mechanics in the game. Netmarble can make it happen. It could work, guys. Next up, I do want to talk about the X-Men as a whole, because it is brought up a lot. Why aren't the X-Men in this game? The X-Men are in other Marvel games. Where's Wolverine? Where's the X-Men? Where Cynicalex, you're the X-Man. You have the X at the end of your name. Where's X-Men? I don't know where the X-Men are, guys. It's a long story. You should probably Google it. But in the meantime, I do want to talk about a couple of X-Men characters that I would really love to see in this game. The first one is actually Gambit. Now, I have said a few things in the past about how I don't like Gambit. The thing is, I like Gambit, I just don't like the way he's been portrayed outside of the comics, and I don't even really like the way he was portrayed in the animated X-Men series, although I love that series to death. Now, I really love Gambit because he kind of mixes ranged attacks with melee attacks, and it just looks so cool. You know, glowing cards, explosions, bow staff kicks. Even his costume, I really like the cutout for the face and the hair and the cape. It's just awesome from top to bottom. And I know Netmarble could animate it well, and I think that Gambit would probably look like a mixture between Daredevil's melee and more of Star-Lord's kind of mid-range attacks, especially with all the colors and explosions and kind of effects that Star-Lord has, and kind of the flash, because Star-Lord's a pretty flashy guy, and Gambit is also quite, you know, flamboyant and kind of, you know, confident. So it would look awesome, and it would feel awesome to play him in the game. The second X-Men that I do want to bring up as someone that I wish was in the game, girl power, first girl on the list, is Storm. And I think Storm would be awesome just because weather, guys. Weather is great. Seeing all the hurricanes and all the effects that Thanos has with his cosmic rain ability is just awesome. And if we could have that as an actual skill, it would just be so cool. To have, you know, hurricanes, to have lightning, to have all this rain and hail and all this cool stuff would just look animation-wise so good in this game. And I think that Storm would fit pretty nicely in the mold of Supergiant as far as her wispy nature, but also the deadly power that hides behind that veil, and just kind of the disappearing, reappearing, and then having like something massive to hit you with would kind of remind me of Storm when I do play as Supergiant. Next up on the list, we have Dr. Doom. Yes, Baron Von Doom, one of the greatest Marvel supervillains of all time. Now, I do think that Von Doom reminds me most of Ronan in this game, and you might not like me for saying that. You may disagree with me for saying that. Fair play. You can let me know in the comments. But hear me out. Despite the fact that Dr. Doom has, you know, so many different skills available to him, he has so many different ways of overpowering you and winning, I do feel like, or at least in everything that I've read Dr. Doom in, that he feels like a schemer, first of all, someone with a plan, but also someone who comes with a lot of ways to control and manipulate you. And so that lends itself very nicely to like someone who does a lot of crowd control or CC skills: binding, snaring, freezing, fearing, stunning. And so Ronan is one of the best characters in the game for that, and Ronan also fits not only the color scheme of Dr. Doom, but also the bulk. Dr. Doom is a big guy. He's got a lot of, you know, muscle and robot shit and all that crap. So I think it would fit as well as far as the character model goes, and as far as like framing the character in terms of the height and the proper girth, but also in terms of the skills. Obviously, Dr. Doom would have to be on a much higher power level than Ronan is in this game for it to be justifiable, but I think that there's a pretty good matchup, and there's a pretty good argument for why they would be they would play out kind of similarly. Next up on this list, we have Man-Thing. Not to be confused with another very similarly likenessed DC character, but Man-Thing I really wanted this game for two reasons. One, I think the whole like earth elemental factor is actually really cool. It's kind of cute, and it fits, you know, the feeling of today, the mood with climate change and, you know, all that environmental stuff. But it also fits really well into the game already because we have Groot. And Man-Thing would just perfectly fit almost the mold of and the textures and all the animation of a character like Groot. And having kind of inhuman characters that are playable is just really fun, and I really do like that aspect of the game, which is why I still go back and play I do go back and play as Groot, despite the fact that he's, you know, kind of a little bit different than everybody else on the list, so or everybody else in the game for that matter. So that's why I want to see Man-Thing in this game. Finally, we come to Scarlet Witch. Now, Scarlet Witch has probably been the most highly requested character to be put in this game since probably Doctor Strange and Enchantress. And that speaks to the fan base that's just so fervent for her. Now, I'm not one of those most fervent fans, but I do appreciate a lot of why people like her so much, why she's such a likable character. While I would also like to have her father and her brother in the game, I would like to have her first and foremost because so many other people want her as well, but also because she kind of reminds me of like the female Doctor Strange. I know her powers are a little different, but it would be really cool to have a female character that kind of did the same kind of magical and overpowered things that Doctor Strange does, to kind of be his antithesis, not necessarily his counter or his opposite, but someone who kind of sits on the same power level and kind of parallels the character in a lot of ways, does a lot of the same things. I think she would animate really well. I know that there's a lot of push and a lot of love to have her in the game, so there's no questioning or denying that fact. And I think she would animate in a lot of the same ways that both Doctor Strange and Wiccan animate, as far as, you know, disappearing, reappearing, having skills that have these really cool, large, grand scale effects, lots of color, bright red. It would just look really cool, and she would be super powerful. It would be another female character to add to the game, and it would just be awesome to see like two, you know, mystic kind of magical beings, heroes duking it out. If, you know, Scarlet Witch versus Doctor Strange, who's the stronger sorceress or sorcerer or witch or whatever. Be very, very cool. So those are my picks, guys. That's my list. Those are my top characters that I want to see in the game. So let me know who you guys would put in the game if you had creative control. Who would you like to see most? Who's the 1 or 2 or 3 characters that you are dying to see in this game? I know the list might be long, but try to shorten it. Try to make it bite-sized. I know there's a long list as well of honorable mentions of characters that I could have put on this list. You know, characters like Deadpool, so many of the X-Men, so many Fantastic Four, etc. There's a lot of characters that could have made this list, guys, so I want to hear who you guys would have picked, who you guys want to see in this game. And of course, guys, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.